What's up, everybody? In today's video we are going to be installing the tank's meter match fuel level sender correction thing. So if you have the problem like me and your fuel level sensor does not match your gauge and you feel like there's no way to do it, you can't find a resistor that'll work to make your fuel level sender work with your gauge, Tanks has a solution, and it's supposed to be able to convert any signal to work with your gauge. So like with mine's totally backwards. I have a 7310 and then I have a 1658 fuel level sender. We're gonna use this meter match to make it work, and hopefully it's not too hard, but I'm gonna go over all the steps it took to make this thing work and how I'm gonna make it do it. We are working on my box body Mustang, and that's what this test is gonna be on. So let's get right into it. Let me show you the package and what comes with it. Okay, so this is what you get with your tank's meter match. Is you get your nice little package, a set of instructions, the meter match actually, and then you get this little screwdriver thing that yeah, it's like a screwdriver and a pry. So let's open it up and see what's inside. So this is a little flathead screwdriver, and then has a little Phillips head side as well, and then a little clip, so if you want to be real fancy you can just clip it onto yourself wherever you want to go. So that's what we got to work with, and then the meter match, and made in the USA. That's pretty cool. You're supposed to open this thing up, so let's get that done, see what's inside and see what we got to do. One screw on the back that we're gonna pop open real quick, and they say be very careful to not touch anything with other metal because it'll bust. Alright, so be careful because this thing is not attached. You can pull it apart just like that. Just FYI. Don't ask me how I know. Alright, so now we got this thing taken apart. We have our 12 volt, we have our ground, we have to the gauge, to the sender, and all our wires go right there. And then we also have to the alarm system, which we won't be using, and I don't think most people will be using that. And so those are the main things. So what we got to do next is go into the car and find our gauge signal wire and our sender signal wire and be able to splice those into this thing. And so for your own application, you're gonna have to figure out where you're gonna pull 12 volt and ground this thing. I already have an idea of what I'm gonna do with my Fox body, but it might be different for you. So, or it will be different for you. So let's go into the car, find where my gauge wire and my sender wire are, and then we can go from there. Alright, so right here, this yellow wire, this one is to my new fuel level sender that is in the tank right now, and then this one is to my gauge, my existing gauge. So this wire is the 7310 operating frequency or ohm frequency, and then this one is that 16 to 158 operating frequency. So we're gonna plug these two wires into the meter match for gauge and sender. So I'm gonna unplug it. Like I said, it's gonna be different, but hopefully the basic knowledge of this will be simple enough. So I got these on really good. Okay, and so adding the wires are pretty straightforward. All you do is there's Phillips head screws right here. You loosen it up and then you strip part of your wire and then you shove it in. So we'll do one just for example. Get my ground wire out, so strip it, twist the end. Alright, now I can loosen this. This is the ground one. I'm gonna be installing my ground wire. That's all the way loose. This is stripped, and get a nice little twist to it. Now notice that it's kind of annoying to get this thing in the right spot. Now, tighten it down. Snug, not too tight. Alright, now we have a ground wire and a power wire. So now we just got to put our gauge and our sender, and this thing will be wired up. And it's really that straightforward. The hard part comes in calibrating it. Okay, so now that we got it wired up, we have our lead into the sender unit, our lead out to the gauge, and then we have our ground and our 12 volt switched. So all this is good. So that's where we are right now, and we are key on, so we have power to it. So the next thing we're gonna do is calibrate this thing. So there's multiple different ways to do it, and So if you don't know your sender resistance, you need to fill up your tank or have your tank completely empty, or right at the halfway mark you need to have a known area. So what you're going to do is, if you fill up your tank all the way like I did, we're just going to do what I did, and the instructions have different ways. So that pin right there, it's a dial. So you see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So number 1 is going to be the high point. So we're going to click it on to number 1. This is hard. Alright, and see, now we have a little green LED. So now we have up and down. So what you're going to do is you're going to press the up or the down and get the fuel level, your actual gauge, to read what you have in the tank. So I messed with it, and so now I have clicked up quite a bit, and because I filled up my tank all the way, and so now since my tank is filled up, I wanted it to read full. So let's look at my gauge. All right, and you can see my fuel level gauge says full. So I'm gonna point that thing down and make it say empty. So I click down a couple times and check it out. Look how much it's gone down. So you just use those up and down tiles to make it read what you want. And when you're done, you're gonna click save, and then that green LED is going to flash at you. So I'm actually not gonna save it because I have it set the way I want it to, but that's what you do. You press the red button and it would blink. And then, probably can't see it, but it did go back to full, or it's going back as we speak. And so now, let's talk about, so if you know the calibration points for it, or for your sender, you can actually, it has some preset ones. It has 0 ohms, 10 ohms, 33 ohms, 73 ohms, 90 ohms, 180, and 240. So the number 4 switch is what calibrates your low point. Number 1 switch calibrates your high point. So since we just did the high point, we are going to calibrate the low point. So that would be 4. So what you're going to do is you switch your dial to 0, and then you hold the save button, and the LED is going to pop on again. See? Check it out. And then you press up as many times as you want on the sender resistance, and I'll have a picture to show you. So we're going to set it to 33 ohms because Ford says 22, and I'd rather be a little higher than a little lower. So we're going to click it 3 times. Then 1, 2, 3. So that's 33 ohms. And so now we are going to let go of the save button and click it to 4. So now we're on 4, and we're going to click save. So now my empty tank is set at 33 ohms. And so I could put it away, and once I actually have an empty tank, I could do like the first method and just set the dial indicator to empty and then press save and be done with it. But it's going to work out. So we're actually done. We can put our little tanks thing on here, mount it in the car, wherever we want, and we are done. We have set our fuel sensor. So this thing's actually really awesome. I had a tough time finding a 12-volt switch at first, but after I found it, easy breezy. The thing works. I would totally recommend it. Super easy to install, and now I have a fuel pressure, or a fuel level sender, which is great because I like to know how much gas I got in the tank. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, right? I like to know. I just like to know. So that is going to be it for this video. I hope it was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you're new to the channel, we do Mustang things. We do Fox body Mustang things. We got a built motor, the R302. It makes power. It's turbocharged. So that's what my channel is about. If you like it, please like, subscribe, comment. I'll have more how-tos. I'll have more vlogs. I'll have all the good stuff. So on that, I will catch you guys on the next video.